Well, hello. Welcome to the first episode of Tech News Live. I got like 4 monitors all over the place. I got some notes down here, so I don't know exactly how this is going to work. And hopefully my animations and display that I built out here actually does what it needs to do. So, welcome to the Tech News Live. I'm going to be trying to do these once a week. I don't really know why. I just really like talking to people live, and hopefully maybe we can have some conversations about tech and what we're doing. So yeah, without further ado, let's kind of jump into it and see what I can break. This is what we're talking about today. So TikTok is going to be feeling a whole lot different, right? Apple just launched the new iPhone 17. And yep, there is some new issues with it as well. And Google is going to war with publishers. If you guys know about that little AI overview thing, it's causing some trouble for Google. See if they get sued. And OpenAI is gearing up to burn through enough energy to rival 10 nuclear reactors. I don't know exactly how I feel about that. It feels kind of weird. Sounds like the end of the world. But yeah, we're talking about all that and more in today's episode of Tech News. Let's jump into the first piece, which is the TikTok might feel pretty different here in the US. So if you didn't hear, what's actually happening right now is that TikTok just got kind of like an American takeover, right? Oracle and US investors will be taking the majority of TikTok's controllership here in the US for the US business. So ByteDance, the company that actually controls and owns TikTok, they're going to be down to 20% controllership here again in the United States. Now, there's no deal signed and it's all not official just yet. So just got to kind of stay awake and stay aware. Stay awake and stay aware, like it's something scary. It's just TikTok, guys. But no, seriously, kind of the shake up and what's going to happen here is that they're going to get a full copy of TikTok's recommendation system, and then they're going to retrain it, excuse me, using the American user data, and then run it only through U.S. servers. So again, the Chinese people don't. Excuse me. That's crazy even saying like that. So I guess the Chinese doesn't get our data. I guess that's what their security. That's that national security risk, right? So what this does is this is going to satisfy that U.S. law that demanded that TikTok is going to either sell off or get banned. The idea is really again to cut Chinese government out of influence and data access. What I think is going to happen is that the algorithm is going to change significantly, right? It's going to diverge. This is what I was saying earlier to one of my buddies. It's going to diverge off of the global version. Like we're going to be getting Americanized algorithms now, and that's going to be determining again based off of what is recommended by them. Because even subtle changes in training data, that's going to shift what content trends, what creators are going to blow up, what topics catch fire. I mean, I guess the thing to worry about, kind of how I look at it, is that this is going to change. It's going to directly influence on what goes viral. Like instead of people seeing certain things go viral, they're going to have their own vision of it, and it's going to do whatever it's going to do. I think personally, what that means also is that we're going to be fighting some weird free speech battles as well. So something to consider. Again, China has not approved this deal just yet. And if they don't, things can probably get a little weird, definitely a little messy, and shake up some stuff. But yeah, hey, speaking of big tech shakeups, Apple dropped their new iPhones, and one of them is thinner than ever. Yeah, I don't really know exactly how to feel about the new thin iPhones. I think for me personally, I think there's a little bit of lack of innovation happening with Apple right now. But yeah, they're here, and the iPhone Air might be the thinnest flex they've ever pulled. I really don't even know what to say exactly because it's like we're going to thinner tech for, I don't know, I guess we're sacrificing stuff along the way. And people like MKBHD found that out in his review. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. But yeah, so the lineup for this year is 17 Pro. There is no Pro Max. It's kind of like the new the new Air. It's newest design ever, super light, slimmer than the Pro, rocking. It still has a 120 hertz ProMotion display. Some of the upgrades it's got, ceramic shield glass 2, which is stronger and drop resistant, brighter, more LED displays, and the new A19 chip. So pretty cool. But yeah, like I said earlier, MKBHD was having some issues in his review with battery life lasting longer than a day. I think that's going to be a massive problem. And what he was saying also is that the battery seems to not want to last the entire day for him now. What does that mean for the future, right? As software gets more heavier, as more updates come, as things get, and the battery gets used more, you'd probably expect even less. You'd probably expect even less battery life at the end of that. So, I mean, that's something to consider. Jerry Rig Everything, he actually put through the bend test. If you haven't seen that, it was really, really funny. But back in the day, bend gate with iPhone, I think it was iPhone 8. The big phones were bending left and right. So he'd been bending phones for a long time. And this one did very, very well. So even though it's thinner, it's definitely stronger. Pretty cool, I would say. But again, it doesn't really matter much if the software is destroying it, which is actually what's happening right now. Because iOS 26 is already giving a lot of people a lot of issues. So the newest update just came out for Apple's iOS 26, right? A lot of people feels like it's a downgrade because it's making their stuff more sluggish and the battery life even worse. And that's a lot of people, myself included. Broken features right after updates. I had a couple glitches where I had to restart over and over again. Now, Apple's going to say this is normal, and it is normal. Right after a big update, your phone is re-indexing files, updating apps, and doing background tasks. So it's going to get beat up pretty quickly there. But yeah, so there's a fix coming. It looks like there's a lot of people that are complaining about it. Enough people are complaining about it, and they have sent out an adaptive power update or something like that. It's meant to extend the battery life of your phone. And again, kind of like the concern that I see here. Again, the problem, if you will, is that this is a repeat of what happened before with Apple, right? Apple has come to us and already had phones not working properly having phones, older phones, basically get killed by software and software updates. And they were doing it intentionally. They were slowing down your battery, or they were killing your battery, draining your battery quicker, and slowing down your phone on purpose so that they would force an upgrade by you thinking, hey, my phone's dead. So that's a real problem, I would say. In my opinion, that's a real problem. I think that's not going to be really good at the end of the day, especially if, people like me who don't have the newest phone all the time. I mean, I try to get the newest phone. At the moment, I have both the S24 Ultra and the iPhone 15 Pro Max. So I didn't upgrade to the 16. I don't know if I'm going to go to the 17. I just didn't see enough of a jump in it for me. If it's camera quality stuff, I have a camera. And the new camera on the Air, which would be the only one I would consider because it's the newest and most innovative. Again, it's what's so innovative about going thinner? I don't know. I'm kind of looking at it and I'm a little confused myself. I don't know exactly if I'm supposed to be impressed by that, but it doesn't feel like Apple's doing anything different and exciting. With iOS 26, we have the glass update, the liquid glass update, which again, it looks good. I kind of joked on it before in a couple different videos that it just seems like we're going back to like the Fruitigo era look. I think that was Windows XP, Windows 7. Either way, Vista maybe. Either way, it's not that innovative. And I upgraded my MacBook to Mac OS 26, and I'm having lots of issues with it. In fact, everything pretty much died on me a little bit ago, so I might not even be live. That'd be hilarious if I'm not live. Well, it doesn't really matter. Anyways, but yeah. So, we got a lot of stuff happening with the phones. And, Apple didn't just have phones that launched. They launched a new watch, new AirPods as well. And the new AirPods had some really cool stuff to them, the language technology. I think that was pretty innovative. Again, innovative, right, is hard to say because there's a TikTok shop guy doing it for $10. So how am I supposed to say that Apple's killing the innovation game and then maybe it's just me, but it's not just media that's shifting, right? The gaming world is about to see prices and stuff that never really they wanted to see, but that's a lot. And the problem again with some of this stuff is it's just like the Apple stuff, is being pushed a little bit too quickly. I think some of these things get pushed quickly. We've seen product after product not ready to get to market, but they're pushing it because they know they have a deadline and people expecting it. And if they don't hit it, they'll lose it. So looks like we're moving on to the next story, which is Google developers having so Google AI summaries are supposed to be okay. You know those little summaries at the Google thing. So when you Google something, right, and it gives you a little summary, an AI index, a little summary. Again, it's called an AI overview, AI summary. Those things are having some major problems for people at the back end of that. So what do I mean by that? That summary sometimes keeps people from clicking in through to the person's website. That could be anything. And that these people are saying that they're losing that precious ad revenue because they're losing clicks through to their website due to this AI overview. So looks like Penske Media is bringing forth a lawsuit. So if you don't know who Penske Media is, that's the owner of Rolling Stone, Variety, Billboard. They're suing Google right now, accusing them of siphoning content into AI-generated overviews and not giving permission, like not asking permission to do that and basically take away from those people. Now, here's the problem. Instead of traffic news going to, this is their idea, excuse me, this is the problem that they're presenting. Instead of sending traffic to news sites, Google's putting AI summaries right at the top. Users usually get the gist without ever clicking through. Now, publishers say ad revenue is tanking because people aren't reaching the websites anymore, which I don't know what to say about that. Like, your precious ads? Okay. In Google's defense, they claim overviews provide an improved user experience and that publishers will soon or still get attribution and visibility, meaning they're giving you credit in the AI overview, but if no one clicks through, isn't that a problem? I don't know. Maybe it's not. But I can see it kind of like holding people back from going and seeing the full experience because they believe they've got enough of a taste. That's kind of how we are these days. They don't need the full thing anymore and no longer click through to the website, wherever that may be. It could be even you're selling cookies or something or giving advice and they're just not clicking through because they got the AI overview. I guess I could see that being a problem. But again, we're talking about like who owns the information, right? That's kind of like the big question here is like who actually owns that information? Like if I have a website, right, and I have a website that's being that's main thing, right, is hosting articles in which I have ad revenue supporting my platform. Do I own that information? And secondly, if AI does an overview as a part of like an extension to a web browser, does that make it so that the person at the end of that click, at the end of the funnel, if you will, doesn't get exactly what they're looking for, especially if they're paying. I mean, imagine paying $300 trillion in marketing to get a bunch of clicks and it's Google searches to AI, you're not getting nothing, your clicks are down. I could see that being a really big problem. And again, if they lose, right, if Google loses this, it could definitely accelerate the collapse of traditional media models. So, excuse me, what I meant to say is if Penske Media loses, it's going to shift some stuff, right? Because now we have proof that Google owns something a little bit different. So, yeah. And I think I jumped the gun in saying this. Like, it's not just media that's shifting. The gaming world's about to see price changes. And, yeah, things are going to get a little different, right? Because AI might, in fact, be the future, okay? But OpenAI and Nvidia, OpenAI, ChatGPT, and Nvidia just partnered together, and they're looking at a $100 billion investment into a new massive server structure. And that server structure could take about 10 nuclear reactors to power it. Now, I don't really know exactly how I feel about that. This is kind of the plan. This is the idea that OpenAI and Nvidia teaming up on a $100 billion AI superconductor project, and it's one of the biggest tech build-outs in history. The compute power, like I said, the compute power needed to consume the energy will be equal to 10 nuclear reactors. And it's not a metaphor, that's actual, that's literally. So, we're trying to get to Star Wars and we're taking the planet with us. So why this is even happening, right? Because it's kind of like, what are we doing with all this stuff? Well, the training of the next gen AI models, they're going to require significant amount significant amount of power to do so. We're talking about like the structure, like the infrastructure and power source or needs of like an entire nation. So it's a lot. It's a lot. And this is for you to chat GPT, best restaurants in Phoenix. Yeah. So the investment is $100 billion. And it's, like I said, that's more than some countries' GDP. It raises major concerns around the climate impact, the grid strain. I don't think our grids can handle that. And who controls access to this level of power? Who owns this level of power? I mean, if they're shutting down the grid and they're taking everyone with it, what do we do? Yeah. So it seems like Nvidia doing this partnership has definitely solidified their dominance as well in the AI field, especially for the AI hardware manufacturing field. It was very interesting to see that. I think at the end of the day, AI is going to continue to grow in a direction that we're not necessarily going to understand the implications of it until, like most things, it happens already. And then we're kind of screwed. And at that point, it's probably too late for us to do much about it. But there's going to be a point in time where we make very hard decisions about this kind of stuff. I think one of the biggest ones is, again, who controls that level of power? I mean, it's enough power to, like I said, power a small nation in some cases. And, we already have issues with like water rights and stuff like that. I don't want to see it turn into that, where it's like power becomes a right. Or excuse me, power becomes something, I don't know, really hard to explain exactly how I feel about it. But the main takeaway for me is we have a $100 billion investment, again, close to the GDP, more than double the GDP of some countries. And this is from the two biggest companies that are dealing in AI right now. Definitely solidifies their dominance. Also makes me question who actually has control over this stuff and whether or not it's actually worth having all these things, right? And at what cost we're giving up to be able to chat GPT again, what it looks like to, best restaurants in Phoenix, But yeah, so looks like I said, I don't think there's anyone in here with me. That's fine. That's actually perfect because I get to experiment and try some stuff out. I didn't know exactly how it was going to work. I have another scene. Look watch this one. Boom. Yeah. I'm having a lot of fun with doing the tech news stuff. I just didn't exactly know how I wanted to start presenting it. So I'm going to probably do it like this. I'd like to have conversations, when we talk about this stuff. But it's nothing too crazy. But yeah, hey. If you're watching, which I don't think there is anyone, mom, dad, grandma, appreciate you guys. Love you so much. I hope this was kind of informative. I plan on doing, again, 30 minutes to an hour, depending on exactly what kind of content and stories I'm going to cover. A lot of this stuff was just informative. I didn't do any deep dives. I plan on doing some deep dives later on. But yeah, okay. So thanks for checking out the video. Thanks for coming to my live. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.